What we're going to do at this point is, again, this is the referral mastermind call. We like to have an open session here where if you have any questions, comments, issues, concerns that you would like us to address, now is a great time to bring that up. So go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking.
Okay, I'll go. Hey,
Hey,
Mike.
Tristan.
This isn't specifically in regards to a referral, but it is in regards to, I guess, lead follow-up. So I was door knocking and I got a lead, and this person said that they were looking to move soon. And they said to give them a call at 7. But then when I called, they didn't answer my call. So now I'm wondering, okay, do I go back to the house and follow up like that? Or do I just keep calling until I get a hold of him? Or like, what is the right way to go about it without, I guess, annoying or offending the person, but also like being persistent and trying to get the business?
Sure, that's a great question. So you knocked on some doors. By the way, congratulations, good job knocking on doors. That's the aggressive way to get out there and talk to people, and it will bear fruit. Tell me about the lead, the quality of the lead and the timing of the lead. What did you discover?
So I discovered that, so pretty much like I did my script, right? And then I'm like, so when do you plan on moving? And he's like, well, we actually need to move soon. And I was like, well, fantastic. Like, I'm very happy that I met you. I'm hardworking and I'd love the opportunity to be your agent. And he's like, well, we already have someone that we worked with in the past and we're probably going to use them again. And then I remember what you told me before, like what to say. So I was like, well, it never hurts to have a second opinion. Would you be open to, getting a fresh set of eyes and just hearing a different perspective? And he's like, yeah, for sure, I'd be open to that. And then that's when I got his contact information. But then when I'm following up now, I don't know if he's ghosting me or like, what's the situation?
Yeah, that's always a hard one, right? You said you made one call back. And so who knows, maybe at that particular time, the dog was biting his leg, or maybe his battery in his phone went out, or, there can be a million reasons other than him not wanting to talk to you. I wouldn't come to that conclusion until you've made multiple attempts to chat with him. Things you can do, you can send a little personal card, right? A little thank you card. Hey, it was great meeting you and I enjoyed our time together. I look forward to talking some more. So you can start using multiple mediums, right? You could call and make sure you leave a voicemail. Hey, sorry I missed you. I'm really excited to chat with you. I want to tell you about, and you should have some really good news for him, right? Like, I want to tell you about how I just learned about a 2-1 buy down that can help you sell your property to even more buyers. If you want to chat with me about that, be sure to call me because not everybody knows about this, right? So that's kind of like a little teaser. The other thing you could do is if you can, again, it's how serious do you think the lead is? That's why I asked that as far as how far you want to go. But you made it sound like they were pretty hot. And so you could track them down on Facebook and send them an instant message, or look for their email address and send them an email. You could knock on their door again. I love that idea. Just say, hey, I just wanted to swing back by and check in on you, and blah, blah, blah. You start a conversation. Remember, when you're working with the seller, you want to offer them benefits of what would be helpful for them. So as an example, excuse me, what does all sellers want to know? They want to know how much their home is worth. They want to know how quickly it's going to sell, and they want to know how fast how much money they're going to walk out of closing with. Okay, so I'll say that again. They want to know how much their home is worth. They want to know how quickly it's going to sell, a time, and then they want to know how much they're going to walk out of closing with. And so when you're setting an appointment with a seller, you should be bringing up those items. And the easy thing to do there at the end is say, if you were the seller, Tristan, it'd be, hey, Tristan, I'm really excited to talk to you and let you know about how I sell homes and how it's a little bit different than everyone else. I know you're probably interested in how much your home is worth, right? You probably want to get an accurate determination of that. I'd like to set a time for us to get together so I can tell you what a professional like me believes your home is worth in today's market. Ooh, they want to know that, right? And then you go to number 2. You say, hey, Tristan, the other thing I'm going to do for you when we get together is I'm going to give you an idea of timing about what's happening in the current market right now, because things have changed. And I'm going to help you establish some ideas of how long it's going to take to sell your home so you can make plans on the other side. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what else, Tristan? I'm going to help you. When we get together, I want to show you exactly what the numbers are, because so many people are confused about that. I want to show you, if you sell at a certain price, all the items that you have to pay to get everything cleared out, like paying off your mortgage and paying for the title work and insurance and the brokers and all these little expenses that come up. Instead of guessing, why don't we go through and I'm going to show you exactly line item by line item what those numbers are, so you'll know how much money you'll walk out at closing with, the check that you'll have at the end. Would that be helpful? Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so I just gave them 3 big, massive benefits to talk to me. It's now they're going to take my call. Now they're going to call me. That's what ends up happening if you make a proper presentation. And setting up that appointment is a proper presentation, right? It is a little mini presentation. Remember, in marketing, you're just trying to, in sales, you're trying to take people to the next step and the next step and the next step. And the more naturally that it moves from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, the easier it is for them to go. An analogy to think about is a slide. A little kid on a slide at the playground. If the slide is smooth and it's easy for them to flow from the top to the bottom, but if it's got all kinds of bumps in it, and rocks and gum that people put on it or something, now it's going to be bumpy and hard. It's going to be hard to go from the top to the bottom. So you want a nice smooth slide. You want to help them move along. Right. A couple other quick things I'm going to mention before I forget, because it's a great topic. Things you might want to mention during this appointment setting, and things that you will then also have as part of your listing presentation, is you need to run 2 numbers on yourself compared to your market. The 2 numbers are your average DOM, days on the market, when you're selling property, and then you want to compare that to the average DOM in your real estate board or your MLS or whatever you can do as far as getting those kind of stats. So it's your DOM, your average, compared to the typical average. And then the second one is your average sales to list price ratio, your average sales to list price ratio. So how much did people finally get at the final sales price versus what did you list it at? That becomes a very interesting number too. What you're going to find most likely is that you're better on both. And if you're not, you don't have to advertise one or the other, okay? Just advertise the one you're better at. Right. But most likely you're going to be better in both. So what I would typically find, depending on how fast my market was moving, I was anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months faster than the average, just because of what I was doing and how I was selling homes. I want sellers to know that. So, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know why we should need to get together is I can show you how I'm selling homes 41 days faster than the average agent. Would you like to know about that? Well, yeah, because we got to get moving. Cool. I'll show you how I'm able to do that. The special marketing that I put together to help you with that. Okay. And then the other stat you have is your average list to, I always said it backwards in the old days, average sales to list price ratio, your average sales to list price ratio. So if you know that, let's say, and things are going to soften, things are going to, the spread is going to grow as the market softens, where you're really going to be a standout. But in the old days, I would often be, say, 3 or 4 points higher than the average agent. So let's say that I was at 99.1% in my ratio, and the average agent in the board was sitting out there at, say, I'm trying to do the math, 95.6 or something like that. So there's about a 3-point difference, say 3.2. So I would tell the seller, hey, you know what else I can show you? I can show you how, on average, I'm getting 3.2% more money than the average agent when I'm selling homes. Would you like me to show you how I'm doing that? Yeah. And so that's what you're finding out. Notice every one of these statements, there's a question at the end where I want to get a yes or a positive answer. So you need to have that tag on to get the response and to get that in this case, the seller's buy-in on what you're doing and what you're offering. If you combine those things when you're making your listing appointment, you're going to be super strong. Now, remember, you have to answer all those questions in your listing presentation. So make sure that you actually answer those. Otherwise, you're going to get in the listing presentation. They're going to think it was a bait and switch because you never resolved that loop. In sales and marketing, they call it a loop. You started the loop and you left the loop open. They didn't get the answer yet, and they want that closure. Everybody does that. They want closure. So you're starting a loop, and then you leave the gap, and the gap fill in this case is meet me at the appointment, and I'll give you the answers to these things. Does that help, Tristan?
Yeah, big time. That gives me a lot of confidence to kind of know what to say and how to provide value, but then also get them to get the buy-in by adding that question at the end. It kind of leaves them wanting to say yes, because what you're saying is like stuff that they would want to know. So I think it makes it much easier to like get the appointment and to, I guess, have the confidence to go back and knock his door, knowing like what I'm going to say and how I'm going to provide value and not be seen as like a pest, so to speak, you know?
Right. And remember, first of all, you're absolutely correct. And now, by the way, you can go back to the door with 1, 2, or 3, or any of these items to try to entice them to set an appointment with you. The other idea, though, if people say, oh my gosh, Tristan, you are aggressive. You're really bugging us. You are really all over us. You say, I understand. Let me ask you, what type of agent would you like? Would you like one who sits back and doesn't do anything? Or would you like one who takes action?
That's good.
So, well, and it's the truth, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
That's the beauty of all this. It's all the truth. It's all based in the truth. It's just how you state it, how you present it. Okay, so the other thing they're popping into my mind about your situation, kind of as a little learning lesson here, is it sounds to me like when you knocked on the door and you found this lead and you said, how soon you're going to be moving, or when are you thinking about moving? And they said soon. It sounds to me like you didn't do the follow-up question, which is, well, what does that mean? Or when are you thinking? Because soon to one person might be a week, soon to another person might be 3 years. So you kind of got to nail that one down a little bit. And the way you can do it is just say, well, what does that mean to you when you say soon? And they may try to play it off again. Sometimes you got to ask 2 or 3 ways the same question. And the other thing you'd say, well, where are you moving to? Okay, so that's another way to answer this question. If they say, oh, I don't know. Ooh, okay, well, let's see. Well, why do you want to move? Okay, and now we may get to it. Well, I'm getting foreclosed on. Well, okay, now you got some motivation. Or I got a promotion and I'm moving to this place or that. Or we're going to move in with my wife's family. I don't know. They're going to have some answer about where they're moving to. And when you get to where they're moving to, you can say, when do you have to be there? Okay. You're coming back to timing. You're always looking for timing. Okay. So the things that you need to have before you actually get into an appointment. And by the way, you can be loose on this to learn, but as you get good and you get really tight on your time, you're going to want to know why they're moving, when they're moving, and if they have the ability to move. Okay, and that may be an issue if the market turns and goes upside down, or who knows what, because people get upside down in their financing, or maybe they overspent and they've got their mortgage plus a second mortgage plus a line of credit, who knows, or they got liens against their property. So that's why I'm talking about, do they have the capacity to sell? Other parts of have the capacity to sell is who owns the property. Is it just this person standing in front of you? Is it this person plus, say, a spouse? Is it this person, the spouse, and one of their parents who had to co-sign on the loan? Do we have 3 owners here or more? So we need to that's why we need to know the capacity question. But the early questions are, why are you moving? Where are you moving to? When do you have to be there? You're looking for that time issue. And then once you start to set your appointment, you would schedule your appointment, and then you would say, hey, just so I do this right, are all the owners going to be there? And they're going to say, what do you mean? Well, who owns this property? I haven't looked it up yet. Oh, well, it's me, and it's my wife, and it's my cousin, and my uncle. Okay, well, we need to get you, your wife, your cousin, and your uncle all there, because that's the worst. If you get into an appointment and not all the decision makers there, you are not getting that listing. And the odds of you getting a listing just went down the tubes, because you'll explain it to one. Let's say it's even a couple, they'll explain it to one, then they don't tell the whole story to the second one, who then is not interested in whatever you were talking about. They don't want to meet with you now because the first one already met with you, so why meet with you again? And you just kind of get yourself in a quagmire. So those are some other pieces of advice on setting listing appointments, even with your PCSOI, your past clients and sphere of influence. See, that I'll wrap this section up with that, and that is this. You think, hey, I got a friend, I got a family member, I got a past client. This is a slam dunk. This is going to be so easy for me to list this property. And so you go into it weak. You're not prepared. You haven't done a proper CMA. You don't have your net sheet. Net sheet is where you had all the expenses listed out. You didn't have a contract prepared. You just kind of thought you'd go wing it. And you show up and you're winging it, and in the middle of the conversation, they go, well, yeah, but we already met Sally, and she was really good, and you're kind of stinking up the place. Right? They may tell you that or they won't, but they're going to go hire Sally because she was on the ball. Right? So you don't want to go in weak. You always want to come in strong with all the information. So you got to treat everybody as though they're gold, which they are to you and your family. You've got to make sure that they're treated with kid gloves and professionally, even if it's your best buddy, your best friend. Boy, I've had some examples of that flashing in my mind where I screwed up by I let down my guard and I paid the price. So anybody that you meet, you've got to come in strong and professional. Okay.
All
right, good. That was a good question. Did we get an answer, Tristan?
Yeah, definitely. I think when he said soon, I think I just got overly excited, because that's the first question I asked, is when do you plan on selling this beautiful home? And usually you get a negative answer. So when he said soon, I think I just got overly excited.
You're like, woohoo, I'm done. See ya.
Yeah.
I'm out for today.
Yeah, I didn't ask the other key follow-up questions.
Yeah. So that's what'll help is first of all, you just got to run into it. Remember that all of life, including real estate, is just failing faster than everybody else, right? You just make mistakes. You cannot be afraid of making a mistake. I know we all are. We don't want to be embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to be a champion, you've got to be able to go out there and take a kick at the soccer ball and miss it. Right, Tristan? You got to take some chances. And then next time you'll know you need to try a different approach, right? And this is an example of it. So I'm glad that you're picking up on that. I would ask multiple layers deep. If you get a hot lead, that's awesome. Make sure it's a hot lead, though. Make sure it's what you think it is. And the way you do it is ask questions, and you need to know anyway, right? That's the other beauty of this. It all plays together, because in order to be really good at this, you've got to know more about this seller, in this case, this person, and what their goals are. And that's all we're trying to do, is find out what they're trying to do and see if we can help them.
It's true.
If you come from that side, some people call that servant heart. If you come from that angle, everything works out. Everything works out. It's just you have to be aggressive enough to ask the questions, right?
Right.
Just think about it as a learning experience, right? You're just trying to learn about this person. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, taking that perspective kind of makes it a bit easier to ask those questions.
And you want a clear picture. That might help too. I need a really clear picture of what they're doing. I need to know what they're doing as well as they know what they're doing. Now, they may hold something back, but I got to at least ask. If I can at least get a clear understanding of what they're doing, I can figure out if I can help them or not. Because they may have a totally unreasonable expectation. Like you may say, well, where do you want to move to? Well, I want to buy a 10,000 square foot mansion. Wow, that's awesome. Now you got to follow it up with, how are you going to put that together? Well, I heard I could buy one for $500. Well, that's not true, right? So you want to get a clear picture of what their expectations are, what they're thinking in their head.
Makes sense.
All right, Tristan, thank you for bringing that good question for us.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for your help. I think that's really going to help me to hopefully land this client. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. I can't wait to get a good report back. Be sure to keep me updated.
All right, we'll do.
All right, cool.